All right, so I want to take you guys through a basic screen that I like to use for the hip called the Faber test. And this is something simple enough where you could do on your own just to get a sense for how your hip is moving, or if you have any limitations that we can kind of address. And we'll take you through one of our favorite mobilizations after, called the hip airplane. So for the Faber screen, all you're going to do is you're going to set yourself up, back flat, one leg straight, and then you're just going to cross one ankle over the knee and then let the hip kind of just fall out. Try not to let yourself pull over or twist at the pelvis or anything. Like, I know that gravity is kind of assisting you here, but you want to just try to keep your trunk straight and then just let the hip fall out to the side and get a sense to where you are. So for me, I'm probably a little bit more than a fist and a thumb width away from the floor on my right side, right? And we're really just kind of looking to get about a thumb's width away up from the floor, right? And if you look at my knee, it's probably a little higher. And then just to see what we're working with on the left side, we'll switch. Same thing. So for me, this left side is definitely a little up higher in the air. I know it's hard to see with that angle of the camera, but also the front of my hip feels a little bit more locked up on the left as well. So what we'll do is we'll address that in our hip airplane. But general rule of thumb is we want to see if we can get the hip to fall out about a fist and a thumb width away from the floor. Right? And we also want to take note of any feelings that we have, maybe like some tightness in the front of the hip or in the hip joint itself. We'll see if we can work those out too. Okay, so after our Faber test, we saw that my left hip is a little bit more locked up than my right side, so we're going to try to clear this up with a hip airplane. So what we're going to do is, I set myself up a barbell here, but you could use the wall or the back of a chair or a counter, basically whatever you have to kind of grab onto just for balance. And once you get yourself set up, we're going to start maybe about an arm's length away. I'm going to get up onto that left foot, right, because that's the side that I'm mobilizing. And I'm just going to get my knee just a little bit softer. It's not going to go really straight, not too far bent, but just a soft open knee. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to get our chest kind of down towards the floor, or parallel with the floor, right? Basically, so if you know what an RDL is, we're basically getting into that, right? So just hinging at the hip, chest parallel to the floor. Then to start here, all I'm going to do is start to just rotate all the way up towards the ceiling, right, with my top leg. I might get a little stretch in the groin here. That's okay. Come all the way back down to the middle, and then you're just going to fall over all the way to the side. Big stretch in the back left pocket right here. Take a few breaths down here, maybe 2 to 3 breaths, right, or try to hold for at least 5 seconds, and then start to rotate yourself all the way back up. Same thing, we're going to hold 5 seconds at the top. So just so you see what it looks like in its entirety. So generally I'll tell someone to do that anywhere between 5 and 10 times. You want to get a 5-second hold at the bottom and then also a 5-second hold at the top. And once we're finished with that mobilization, we're going to take it back to our Faber test to see if we made any improvements in our hip mobility or in that screen. All right, so now that we've gone through our hip airplane mobilization, we just want to retest our Faber screen to see if we made any improvements. The goal shouldn't be to try to get everything exactly equal, right? We're always going to have some of these asymmetries, but we do want to see if we made any improvement relative to our hip, right? So what we're going to do is we'll get back into our Faber, and I'll try to face this way for the camera this time. So what we're going to do is, same thing, we're going to cross one ankle over the knee, and then try to just let it fall out and relax. So I didn't do anything to my right hip, so we're pretty much exactly the same where we are. And then let's just check in on our left side. Ankle over the knee. And still a little bit higher than the right, but I certainly feel like my hip has a little bit more mobility, right? I don't feel that same stretch or locked up sensation in the front. And I would say that we probably got another like maybe 2 fingers width more depth out of that. And really what we're looking for is to just try to make small improvements, especially when it comes to the hip, because what we'll see is, we could start to develop compensations or shifts in our movement, especially if we're doing something like a squat or a lunge or anything where we're putting load on top of that. So go ahead and give yourself a try, test and retest the Faber and then the hip airplane mobilization.